Elden Ring is a tapestry of interwoven myths and legends from various cultures around the world. One thread of the tapestry is Christianity, as Elden Ring features a multitude of Christian references throughout its narrative. For instance, the Oracle Envoys herald the arrival of a new god, or age. The Envoy's great horn consists of 7 horns, just like the 7 trumpets of Revelation that also herald the dawning of a new age. Or how both the grace of gold and divine grace are blessings given by a higher power that symbolize its presence and authority. The clearest evidence of Christianity being that of Marika's crucifixion and the crucifixion of the horn scent, located in the Shadow Keep specimen storehouse. Marika's crucifixion mirrors Christ as both are pierced on their right sides, Christ being pierced with the spear of destiny, and Marika being pierced with destined death, possibly by her own shadow Malekith, at the behest of her 2 fingers. Malekith was a shadow-bound beast given to Marika by the 2 fingers. Marika's sole need for the shadow was a vessel to lock away destined death, which is why he has access to it. War Counselor E.G. explains that shadowbound beasts are destined to go mad if their Empyrean goes against the 2 fingers. The wound on Marika's body is visually similar to the Amber Starlight item, an item which mentions that stars command fate, which relates to the fact that shadowbound beasts are destined to obey the will of the 2 fingers. The 2 fingers represent order. When Marika shattered the Elden Ring, she shattered order. Enya is able to interpret from the 2 fingers that Marika's trespass demanded a heavy sentence. Marika is pierced through her womb, and this holds great significance, as I believe it relates to the original sin. Within the Christian mythos, humanity began in the Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve were seduced by a serpent into eating the forbidden fruit of knowledge. When the Hebrew God learns of their transgression, they are banished from the garden, which holds the tree of life. God curses the serpent to crawl on its belly, but also interestingly adds that the curse entails enmity placed between the serpent and the woman, between their offspring, his and hers. The original sin takes place after the expulsion of Adam and Eve from the Garden of Eden, their betrayal of the Hebrew God resulting in a loss of innocence that would curse all men with sin. The original sin is a Christian doctrine that explains that humans, through the act of birth, inherit a tainted nature with proclivity for sinful conduct, and are in need for a spiritual rebirth. A sin is an immoral act considered to be a transgression against divine law. For instance, in Elden Ring a cardinal sin is the burning of the Erd Tree. This is a sin because the Erd Tree is a representation of the divine law put in place by the Golden Order to provide runes to the Elden Beast via the Erd Tree burials. Within the fringe of Christian religious beliefs is the doctrine of the Serpent Seed, also known as the dual seed or the 2 seed line doctrine. This doctrine explains the biblical account of the fall of man by stating the serpent from the Garden of Eden mated with Eve. The offspring of their union was Cain. This event resulted in the creation of 2 races of people, the wicked descendants of the serpent, who were destined for damnation, and the righteous descendants of Adam, who were destined to have eternal life. The doctrine frames human history as a conflict between these 2 races, in which the descendants of Adam will eventually triumph over the descendants of the serpent. Messmer's remembrance states that he was kept hidden away, keeping company with the original sin. If Messmer keeps company with the original sin, then the sin itself must be in the land of shadow. Found in the Bonnie village is the molten skin of a large white serpent. Near the serpent skin is the location of the Old Mother gesture. This gesture can later be used as a statue of Marika. Messmer's remembrance includes both the mention of the original sin and the snakes within him, adding that Marika feared the power of the abyssal serpent. Her fear was so great that it compelled her to secret away her child within the realm of shadow. Messmer is noted as having serpentine nature. Andreas and his son, both devout followers of Messmer, rebel against him after learning of this. To ensure Messmer's secret is kept safe, Andreas and his son were imprisoned in an underground tomb. Furthermore, Messmer's helm is crowned with 2 intertwined winged serpents, as winged serpents were Messmer's constant companions. Statues of winged serpents can be found in the Temple of Egle. Also present is the shed skin of a large white serpent. The Godskin noble inside of the Temple of Egle drops the serpent's amnion, which states it's from the mother's womb, which cradled the poor, unwanted offspring of a repellent birthing ritual. I believe the original sin that occurred in the Land of Shadow was echoed in the Temple of Egle. Zariah states that she was an unwanted child, born not of grace, but of a hideous ritual, something that can never be accepted, not by man, nor serpents. Rykard and Datakar procreated to produce the man-serpents of Mount Gelmir. Raya, like Messmer, is an unwanted child. She tells you this after receiving the serpent's amnion. As mentioned, the Godskin noble drops the serpent's amnion. An amnion is a sac that contains an embryo fetus of a reptile, bird, or mammal. Godskin nobles have enlarged stomachs to represent pregnancy, and their robes are sewn together with patches of smooth skin, like that of a baby. The Godskins are snake-like in appearance because they are also descendants of the serpent, same as Messmer. They all have serpentine attributes and skin their victims to mirror a snake molting. The Godskin swaddling cloth states the Gloam-Eyed Queen cradles newborn apostles swaddled in this cloth. Soon they will grow to become the death of the gods. In my opinion, the term gods here is in reference to the Empyreans. Being an Empyrean means having a connection to Marika's lineage. Empyreans are special beings that are capable of becoming gods of a new age. I believe there used to be more of them than the 3 that we are presented with in-game. The other Empyreans were killed by the Godskins in an event deemed the God Hunt, which was led by the Gloam-Eyed Queen. The Godskin apostles, once said to serve destined death, are wielders of the god-slaying Black Flame. But after their defeat by Malekith, the Black Blade, the source of their power was sealed away. The Gloam-Eyed Queen's identity is never revealed, but we know that she was an Empyrean. She was defeated prior to the establishment of the Golden Order, and she embodies death via her association with the Rune of Death. Melina's file name and dialogue suggests that she is a child of Marika. Plus, Messmer's kindling mentions his younger sister, and Melina is the kindling maiden. Thus, Melina is an Empyrean in the sense that she is a child of Marika, and is a part of Marika's bloodline. All of Marika's children appear in different groupings. First, her children from the Land of Shadow, then her children with Godfrey, then with Rennala, and finally with Radagon. At the Forge of Giants, before Melina burns herself as kindling, she remarks, "I have long observed the lands between. This world is in dire need of repair, and death indiscriminate," meaning Melina is old, and her birth predates the existence of the Golden Order. Melina appears in one of the ending cutscenes, which reveals that her eye has returned, as the Rune of Death has been unleashed. As her eye is revealed, she states that she will deliver destined death. At the Forge, Melina also states the one who walks alongside Flame shall one day meet the road of destined death. Messmer's kindling states that she bore a vision of fire, plus it's Melina's sacrifice as the kindling maiden which allows the Tarnished to gain entry into Far Missoula to unleash the Rune of Death. Messmer's remembrance states that he was kept hidden away with the original sin, and a hatred that would not be confined. I found this to be odd, as it seems like he was well confined. Messmer resides in the Land of Shadow, and seemingly no one is aware of his existence outside of the Carian royal family, as Messmer was like an elder brother to Radagon. What if the unconfined hatred mentioned in Messmer's remembrance is alluding to a conflict between Marika's descendants, akin to the Serpent Seed Doctrine? One line, Messmer and Melina are the descendants of the serpent, while the golden lineage are the descendants of Adam. If Radagon knew Messmer, is it a stretch to say that Rykard might have as well? Rykard at least knew of Messmer, as the winged serpents in the Temple of Egle establishes a clear connection. The Shattering is a war of demigods, a war of Marika's children, her lineage. How did Radagon feel when Messmer was banished to the Land of Shadow? Better yet, how did his own sister, Melina, feel that Messmer was hidden away while her mother continued to have more children? I believe that Melina used the Godskins, descendants of the Serpent, to perform the God Hunt as revenge against Marika. Marika's reaction to the God Hunt, the death of her children, was to conceal destined death to avoid any more of her lineage from being sacrificed. Melina states that her purpose was once given to her by Marika, but now she acts on her own volition. She has set her heart upon the world that she would have, regardless of her mother's designs. Melina, aka the Gloam-Eyed Queen, was eventually defeated by Malekith at the climax of the God Hunt. As punishment, Melina was burned to death. Through her ashes, she was reborn at the foot of the Erd Tree, in her spectral form. With her rebirth, she continued this conflict between Marika's descendants, as I theorize she was also involved in the Night of the Black Knives. The Black Knife assassins are all women, and are all believed to be Numen with close ties to Queen Marika. Melina wields the Blade of Calling, which is the golden flame counterpart to the Black Knife. The description of the dagger refers to its owner as the Kindling Maiden, and the Black Knives were imbued with destined death during the night of Godwyn's assassination. If you summon Melina to fight against Margot, you'll see that she fights in a similar style to the Black Knives. Black Knife Tish was the daughter of Black Knife ringleader Alecto, and was killed protecting her mother during the flight from the royal capital. This establishes that the Black Knives were all kin, all Numen, and the group possibly held a traditional passing of the torch from generation to generation, from mother to daughter. Godwyn was chosen as the first sacrifice on the Night of the Black Knives because Marika elevated him and his lineage, aka the descendants of Adam, over her firstborn Messmer, aka the descendants of the Serpent. Melina is going against her mother's designs, and I believe she incorporated the Carian royal family into her plot, as they too suffered from Marika's actions of taking Radagon as her second Elden Lord and shattering their family. Ranni steals the Rune of Death. Rykard is rewarded with traces of it, possibly to challenge Malekith, and Radon is waging war with the Golden Order as seen from his battle with Margaret, during possibly the second defense of Lendel. Albeit purely a theory, I think the original sin relates to Marika's lineage, and a hideous birthing ritual, something that can neither be accepted by men nor serpents. Messmer, being a product of this sin, was hidden away in the Land of Shadow. Those who managed to learn of his serpentine nature were imprisoned deep underground to maintain his secret. Melina, seeing the injustice of Messmer's treatment, launched the God Hunt and later orchestrated the Night of the Black Knives as revenge against her mother's designs. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you all have a wonderful week.